Right? It's one of those things where all of a sudden I'm sending her a fun little link of something I wrote earlier this week. I'm like, you'll enjoy this, I think. Next thing I know, she's coughing and hacking and disappearing off the screen for a second there. Okay, you can blame me. It's okay. I'll take
the link my way, and it was just too much for me to handle. Apparently, and it almost killed me.
My words were hot fire. Like, hot fire?
It just seared into my life force.
Yeah. Even before you even read it, she almost dies.
Can't handle this.
Can't handle it. So welcome everybody to episode 611 of Just Joshing. This is a drink and draw night episode. This is my fourth drink and draw this week. It was almost like this week was like a catch-up week. I didn't do a lot of drink and draws in prior to this. So this week it just all kind of worked out. Last episode was an interview, straight up interview. I was supposed to do another interview yesterday, and he backed out at the last minute. Just medical emergency, apparently. Mm-hmm. But then prior to that, I was drawing pirates for like 3 straight days.
Oh, of course you were. Of course you were. There's no reason, Sometimes you just gotta draw a pirate for 3 days straight.
Just 3 different guests. Also, here's the thing: you go to an artist, you want to draw pirates? I'm drawing pirates. They're like, I want to draw pirates too. Because really, right?
Is that a question?
You can see, I can almost say it, Shani O. Do you want to draw pirates? She'd be like, yes, damn you.
Of course.
Damn you. Yeah.
A pirate's going to get drawn in this episode. It won't be the whole episode, but it will get drawn.
Yeah, so there you go. See, I mean, we're keeping the trend of pirates alive here in this stream. Four in a row. I know. But we were talking because this is day 12 of me. So this is long and short of the story. Basically, I ended up just gave money up for my illustrator and stuff like that. I ended up starting another job. Unbeknownst to the last job I had, they decided they didn't want me back. I almost don't blame them. Almost, right? Almost. Some of the I'll just say this, my last day there was hilarious because they put me out so they have a cutting night. They put me on this part I've never done before. They expected me to get all of it right away, and I'm brand new at this, and I'm at that point where I'm too old to really. If you're gonna put me in a position that I'm gonna be bad at the job, I'm not gonna worry about it. That's just kind of how I look at it.
Give me the tools to succeed. Are these the tools? Let's do this.
Yeah. Let's do it. This is what you do. It's okay, well, you're gonna fall behind. It's probably because that's just that right. But so after about an hour on that shift, they moved me back to something simpler. I decided pretty much, and at the end of that shift, they decided you're not coming back. And I'm like, I'm okay with that, right? So I get into I'm okay with it. It was one of those situations where it's the problem is where I'm at in Windsor, Ontario, almost every job pays the same. It makes it very hard to care. It just does because it's this job pays this. That's just really not that good of a wage. And it's on par with McDonald's.
Right? Let me see how much emotional weight I'm going to give this. $12 an hour? Yeah, none. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, no. Our minimum wage is higher than yours. It's closer to 15. So.
There you go.
Still, if it's a $15 an hour job here and a $15 job to flip a burger, it's about the same,
Minimum wage means if they could pay you less, they would. So don't get too emotionally hung up on it.
Oh, exactly. So when I deal with a factory job, it's paying me really close to that, and they're like, "Oh, we're 50 cents above that." It's not a big deal. It just is not. I digress. So I go do another temp job to do try to just keep getting my saving up money, and then right before I'm supposed to start, I do the orientation, and right before I'm supposed to start, the chip shortage happens again, and we've been laid off ever since. So I was like, I'm just going to take this as a sign. Let's see what happens when I go back to freelancing. So that led to a job, which led to another job. A couple jobs I worked out previously just came. I have another job I got to do right now. I'm working a podcast gig for a client. I was just supposedly paid from Writers Weekly for an article I wrote earlier this week. I haven't seen the paycheck yet, but it's coming from at some point.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, I did another writing magazine that I'm waiting to hear back from. So I've got at least another. So last week, my first week, I made a living wage. I guaranteed myself some income for next month already. So as of right this moment, ladies and gentlemen, anyone watching, I'm literally $150 away from $1,000 inside of 12 days.
Can you smell that? That's your future. It smells like money on your own terms.
And suddenly I become wealthier, and suddenly everybody around me thinks, "You're so sexy, Josh. Oh my god!
Oh my goodness! Can I be your friend?"
Yeah. It's just the way it goes, right? But it's like I'm looking for one more job. I'm basically, my goal is, if I can find a job, a sponsorship for the podcast, something like that, for like, again, just where I'm at, I'll be like, I'll make $1,000. Sure. That's not bad for 2 weeks. That's like, again, that's a living wage. Like 2 weeks, that's an average of $500. But now, again, I'm not seeing all my money at once. But that's not really the point. I've made that money. So now I just got to keep. And so now it's just like, well, let's just keep going. Because if I keep getting gigs like this, why would I go back to work?
It's not if, it's when. Because this is the hardest part. Just trying to figure out what you have to say, what you have to do to get the effect that you're looking for. You know, who do you have to talk to? And now that you're finding these people and you know what you can do to help them, it's just a matter of repeating that success and then tweaking things in every day, just like 2% better than the last day. And that adds up really quickly. You don't need big changes to make the success compound on itself. So this is an exciting time for you. The learning curve is just, you know, you're past that valley of despair. You're into
the biggest difference between this time around and last time around is there's a confidence I can do it. I know this. There's still gonna be moments where it's gonna be like this. And then back up and then down and up, and like I'm at that way, and I still might go back to this job because for like a week or two, just to keep, again, just for money purposes, just to keep it up. But I already know this. It's like, you're not sticking around there because deep down you just know you don't belong there, and deep down the universe was going to conspire to keep you on this course, which is the course you wanted to go on. So it's kind of like, again, there's going to be some awkward moments in this process, but my goal is by the end of this year, it's like, okay, this is regular now. And then once it's regular, it's like, I don't know, I might go, hey, Shani, want to go hang out? It's like, because I don't really care, and I'll find my way over there. And I won't, like, the other thing also about me, ladies and gentlemen, I have dual citizenship. It doesn't matter what the rules will ultimately become going forward. I'll be able to go across both countries, no problem. Right?
This guy.
Passport just makes you go. Yeah, I am. Isn't that lovely?
It's the perks. Congratulations. Yeah. You get the best of both worlds without any of the drawbacks.
Yeah.
Man, the U.S. is lame right now. I'm going up to Canada. Man, Canada. I'm going down to the U.S.
Then, like, you know, if I can make money anywhere, I might just say, you know what? It's expensive everywhere. Why not? Hawaii looks nice. What the hell?
Hawaii is pretty expensive, my dude.
So yeah, but so is everywhere else. I mean, like, this is the one. Here's the quote optimistic / scary thing is, everything costs so much right now that it doesn't matter where you're at. It really doesn't. So you're broke everywhere. Well, if you're broke everywhere, you might as well go where you want to go.
That's such a nihilistic point of view on traveling during inflation.
Yes, but it's not even really nihilistic. It's just real. Like here's the thing. Everybody's got to face the fact. Like I think the inevitable. When this will lead to the other thing, I sent Shani earlier, and I'll put this actually in the link here for people to read, because this is probably a good read in general.
Yeah.
But and that's for everybody to watch and wants to read. Basically, the idea behind this was the price point of what a freelancer should charge. But one of the things is about respectability, and I think the reality we have to face going forward is the downside of labeling so many people essential workers is we've actually devalued our workforce, not valued them up. But yeah, we're saying we're a hero. I've seen how your country treats heroes. Brutal. Brutal.
Yikes.
Right?
He brought up the VA.
Yeah. But it's not just the VA. I mean, that's the obvious one, right? I mean, your cops 9/11 were considered heroes. Where are they now, right? Any person you've labeled as a hero sooner or later becomes the villain in your country. It just doesn't matter who and what you are. And yeah, the veterans.
It's less the villain and more the benign neglect idea.
Yes. Yeah.
And they just fade into the background. And that can be more harmful because, at least villains get attention.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the point, right? Ultimately, so here's the freelance point. Your price point has to equal respectability from whomever you're working with. Period. Mm-hmm. That's the reality. If you charge too little, no one's going to respect you. You charge too much, no one can afford you. And that's the reality. But no matter what, the price point you negotiate for yourself has to come with some degree of respectability, or you didn't negotiate for enough money. That's just the way. That's just the way it is. Because if someone isn't, because it's not really about the money in the traditional sense of paying your bills. Yes, that's why we're doing this. Some of doing it this way. There's truth to that. But the reality is this too. You want the people, your clients, to respect you. Because if they didn't respect your expertise, otherwise, they're going to end up not respecting you. And again, you do not want to have an employer or a client that doesn't respect you. And I can't think of a more terrifying example of this than honestly someone that works at a fast food joint. Right? They work hard. Anyone that actually watches anyone that's ever done a fast food restaurant gig, it's not easy work, and you're not paid very much to do it. And they're not respected, not like they should be anyway. And honestly, when you break it right down, the reason for that is the price point. If you're paying a fast food worker, considering all the risks they take, probably should be making closer to $20-25 an hour. Honestly, if you really sit there,
it seems like a pretty arbitrary distinction in our economy to be like, this one occupation, you're just going to be minimum wage forever. It could have been anything, but it was fast food workers. That doesn't mean that there's no skill there. It was just an arbitrary selection of you are the minimum.
Mm-hmm. That's it, right? And again, anyone that works there, anyone that goes into and serves in those environments isn't treated with the respect that honestly they deserve. They're cooking your food. They're taking big risks. They really, really are. If you don't really believe that, work in a kitchen and you'll see for yourself, right? They're under constant pressure and scrutiny, not only from their management, but from their customer base. Where's my food? Where's it now? Customer needs their food. Give it to them now. I mean, it's a constant pressure cooker. And again, they're not paid enough. I mean, legitimate. And unlike, say, a more traditional restaurant who also are by and large underpaid, at least there's tips. Fast food does not have anything that resembles that. So
I mean, the tips in a lot of restaurant settings is supposed to subsidize what should have been the hourly wage. So even at that same rate, it comes back to minimum wage.
Yes,
in a lot of the states.
Yeah. So when you set your price point, ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest things you got to worry about is, okay, again, it's respectability. Do you want to be treated like the fast food worker? Or do you want to be treated as something better? Now, you may not be able to get to the wage that you want to be treated something better, but there are clients out there that will respect you with the rates they're paying you as well. And you have to recognize who those people are. Mm-hmm. And when they're not, and one of the I think biggest telltale signs that your work isn't respected is when a client doesn't listen to you or doesn't do what you say. And again, they can disagree with you. That's not what I'm saying. It's their product and you're helping them. And that's when you get them right down to it, but you want to feel at the very least listened to. It's like you get clients like, yeah, I'll do it. And don't do it.
Well, time out, because there are a few things I want to respond to up till this point, ending with what you just said. So first off, right, your pay is going to thresh out who is your ideal client. And in your mind, when you're trying to figure out how much money do I need a year? How much money do I need a month? How much should I charge a client? How many gigs do I want? How long does it take me per gig? You're doing all these mathematics to figure out what your rate should be. You're not pulling it out of nowhere. This is an educated decision. Mm-hmm. When you figure that out, you are also figuring out who your ideal client is. Your ideal client is somebody who can pay that, right? If you're putting yourself out there and you're finding people who can't afford you, it's less about respect. That is there, right? There's a societal notion, depending on what service you provide, of what that service is actually worth. So yeah, you're going up against that, or it's working for you. But if the client can't afford you, it has less to do with that respect and more to do with the fact that they're not your ideal client. So that's part one, right? Part two is, are they not your ideal client, or are you not offering the services that your client fully needs? And a lot of that is market testing, right? You can bring somebody from point A to point B. They have a problem. They don't have a problem anymore because of you. And that would be worth X amount, right? But you could do a full suite of services and that would be worth even more. So if you're finding that your clients don't want to pay what you're offering, it might be worth it to offer a little bit extra. And then that distinguishes you from the rest of the market. It makes you the expert. Part of charging more, one thing that you had said was you can't overcharge because then people can't afford you. I want to push back on that, because there are people who will afford you if you can distinguish yourself as the expert in your field. And that requires the dedication to become that expert. It's not enough to say, I am the expert, pay me now. You have to show that you are the expert every single time you interact with the audience. And in interacting with the audience, your pay, how much you're charging, not only threshes out who your ideal client is, but those interactions of your expertise also threshes those ideal clients out, so that only the people who can afford you and need your help eventually approach you.
So, okay, so you're talking about one thing that I think that needs to be stated. Like, there are 4 reasons to fire a client. One of those reasons applies to both parties, by the way. You're not ready. If a client can't afford you, sometimes has nothing to do, as you say, with respect or anything like that. It's more like the client might not just be ready for you right at this moment in time, right? Like, for example, I would love to have Michael Whalen do covers for my books. He does covers for like The Wheel of Time and Brendan Sanderson stuff and Stephen King stuff. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool, epic shit. I can't afford him. And in all fairness to Michael, even if I had a cover of his right now, and this is a hard thing for a lot of our creatives to accept, getting those cool things is nice, but you may not be able to actually, even if you could get them, you wouldn't be able to maximize their value. It's just the reality of the situation is you're reaching, like, you may not just be ready for that thing. And as a freelancer, you got to be recognize what you do well and what you don't. And it's not like, okay, like, I was fired by a client earlier this year. I was not ready for what they offered then. Now I think I am. In fact, I'm going to be going back to them on the weekend. I've been waiting for one of my articles to come out. When it really drops, I'm going to send them a copy. And I'm going to say, let's try this again. Because I think what they want and what I delivered there was very, very close to what they would have wanted from me. Mm-hmm. So it just maybe a little bit more direction on there, and also maybe, like, one of the biggest mistakes I think both sides of us made. I never read the magazine the way I should have, and that's because I never got it. I never got it from them, and they never offered it to me. So it really, yeah, that's a huge problem. And looking back, like, that's my biggest mistake from that assignment is I should have looked at the magazine before, and who knows, maybe I'd still be ready for them right now. But what they were looking for and what I delivered for this magazine I just did is pretty close. It's a bit bigger than what they would have asked for, but on the same token, I know I did a good enough job because they asked me to do another article. So, hey,
bonus.
Good stuff. Bonus, right? So all of which is said, like, that's one side. Like, not ready for you is the most forgivable of all reasons not to be hired or to fire somebody. Because honestly, that just means that right now, we're just not a good fit. Now, down the road, things happen and things change, and suddenly you and them might be in a better. I hate this word, but it's the right word for this: alignment. I hate that word.
Just mechanical, not on the mechanical level, not on the metaphysical level of alignment, right? You just got to be in the right place, offering the right thing to the right person. Alignment, right?
Yeah. But it's just I hear it so much, it drives me nuts. So, but that all said, like that is a very that's important. Like that is the one reason if you are let go, that they might hire you again. Absolutely, 100%, and vice versa. A client might not be ready for me right this minute, but I'm not going to leave it on a bad impression then, because that's just right now. In the future, that could change like that, and when it does, let's do it like that. Like if there's a reason to forgive somebody for firing, for letting them go, like be very forgiving. That's the reason. Like, are they not ready? The other 3 reasons, I'm just going to mention them right now. They will not listen to you under any circumstances. There's a point, now either get paid very well, very, very well, to be ignored, or let them go. You're not offering anything. They aren't applying anything they're suggesting. It's not quite the same thing, right? It's not quite the same thing. It's close, but it's not quite. Because it might be like they are applying some things but not others, right? That one's very much about, okay, if you're not going to do these things, you're not going to get these results,
right?
And you have to make the client aware of those things. Like these are, if you're not going to do them, that's fine. Not the results. It's not quite the same thing as not listening to you, because they still might be using some of the same things, some of the things you're suggesting.
They could just have a busy life, and forget to do something.
Well, there are factors. What you got to decide in that situation is are they not agreeing with you because it's not their style? Are they not agreeing with you because, as you say, they have a life or other priorities? And you got to put those things in perspective. Third, mentally unstable. That one, mentally or emotionally unstable, that is a very terrible situation to find yourself in. Get out of it as soon as possible. Also, when you're not of your own right mind, maybe you take some time away. But basically, those are the other 3 reasons. Mental, emotional instability. You can be forgiving, but try not to work for those. Like, if you can avoid working for those people, and then do so. Again, your own ability you want to do these jobs because you want to do these jobs. You don't want to do what I do and I go to my work and silently resent that I'm here.
Right?
You don't want to do that. So just that if they don't listen to you at all, walk away, because it's not. And 3, if they're not going to do the things you suggest, there is a limit. Like they don't have to agree with everything you suggest. They're the boss at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a sense that they're actually using your information, and you've got to be providing a service, or otherwise neither of you should be working together at all.
Yeah, well, these factors that you're bringing up, it goes back to knowing A, how much you need to charge, right? And B, who your ideal client is. Your ideal client, when you're thinking about them, it goes into, do they have the budget for you? Are they ready for the work that's included mentally, emotionally? Is their life set up to put in that work? Excuse me 1 second.
No worries.
What was I saying? And if they're not, they could still be an ideal client. It could be a value add for you to be like, hey, I know that you're busy. You might feel overwhelmed with updating your website. That could be a huge thing, right? Websites take a long time. You got to update it all the time. You might not have the time to do it. Life is busy. Here, let me do this for you. This is going to cut down 10 hours a week on your website management and building process. And in that way, you add value just by knowing what are the factors that keep somebody from being an ideal client, and then anticipating that. Turn those pitfalls into something that you can offer, those cons into a pro. That's an opportunity. So yeah, they could be not an ideal client, but it could also be an opportunity to make them fun if you're set up for it.
But do you want to do it always either too? Because here's the other side. Like, and this is something that I realized this the first time. Specialization is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And you can definitely do more than what you specialize, but focus is good. It's like we're here. I'm focusing on Twitch, right? Because Twitch is good, and I like that. I'm watching my numbers slowly climb up to like I'm almost there. Like I went for the longest time is at like 0.6 followers per episode. Now it's like 1.5. It's slowly climbing up.
Ooh!
I know. I get to 3. I get paid for this.
That's 100-fold.
Yeah. More than that, actually. Yeah, I'm almost at 300-fold considering from where I started. Right.
Ooh.
Right. But you start small and you build accordingly, right? And what I'm learning and what I'm finding is that as I'm building, again, my specializations are my podcast, interviewing people like yourself, getting interviews, getting information, taking that information and packaging it to various places to sell. It works. It actually surprisingly works very well. Who knew? It took me 6 months to figure that one out the first time. I wish I figured that out sooner, but it took me a while.
A whole podcast episode on that.
Yeah. I have this saying now: the spaghetti that sticks to the wall is very close to the person throwing it. It's actually true.
That's a saying?
That's mine.
Okay, all right.
That's mine.
Let's put that on.
Because here's the thing, like I find that people that find whatever success they find, it's not that different from the person themselves. It really isn't. It's just a matter of figuring out what that is for that person. What do I do best? I build bridges. I build connections. I help people very quietly as well about some things. That's what I do. So everything I do should be a reflection of those things. Right, because that's what's going to get me interest, money, awards, ability to chase women halfway across the world, all that usual fun stuff, right?
Going to Hawaii.
Why not? Why not? Like I said, not deny. Let's say that, like I said, everywhere is expensive. You might as well just go where you want.
At least there's food that you can eat in Hawaii just growing off the street. Avocado trees for days.
That's right. Avocados Jake's rule, by the way. Have you ever had avocado milkshake?
Yeah.
They're awesome, aren't they?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm in Washington. Okay. Avocado milkshakes are a thing.
Yes. In the east, they're not really. Eastern in Ontario here, there is no avocado place. I'm very sad. Very sad. It's like, Ontario, the things that should be here that are not. But there are, again, there's been a bit of a charm kind of coming back here for the last year and a bit, because it's like, wow, I came from this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your refuge?
Yes. Yeah, it's like, it's my refuge from the apocalypse. But now that I just don't think you guys are ever going to close again, no matter what. At this point, I just get this feeling like as far as it goes, you're probably done. Just no matter what happens.
We're gonna hold off on the whole no matter what, because that is tempting fate, and I'm not about that. All right.
Yeah.
We might. Who knows? Let's not try it.
Just saying, you didn't fully shut down the first time either. I just get the feeling it ain't gonna happen again. I just feel
life is listening. Okay, life tried to kill me when I inhaled at the start of this. I don't know what else life is listening to. I'm not trying to tempt anything here. Pandemic, just be over.
Okay, or something. Right? And doesn't exist. Or something. just like I said, and the last time you were on this show, I still couldn't get underwear. I finally could get underwear. Finally.
Oh yes, congratulations!
It was
you
good.
got your haircut before you got new underwear.
I know. Yeah, and I'm surprised you didn't ask me. I don't think it was you that asked me. Somebody else said, I pointed out to them, it's like, you probably should ask me how I got that haircut, because chances are it was probably it was easier for me to get a haircut illegally than it was to get underwear.
No, I think you mentioned this.
Yeah. But the fact that it was easier, I will never forget that for all my days. It's like, I got a haircut easier than I got underwear. That's a strange world.
You're going to be telling generations down the road about the pandemic, and that's going to be your starter. That's your opening line. Yes, well, kids, back in the day, I could get a haircut before I could get underwear.
That's right. it will touch generations' hearts. Like, you think you take underwear for granted. That is assuming. Who knows? In 20 years, there might not be any underwear anymore. We might have evolved to whatever the next thing is.
It'll be like a laser spandex thing. It's just like photonic second skin.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I mean, not that I don't really want to talk about this, but I mean, hell, the concept of underwear and undergarments have evolved even in the last 100 years. Who knows what they will look like literally in another 10 or 20. Someone somewhere will come up with a way to reinvent the wheel. I am certain of it.
So long as underwear exists.
Yes.
I know there are plenty of people out there who need their underwear. Okay, we cannot take that away from them.
I tend to agree. I'm saying just one of those things. Like, look, the world is a strange and wonderful place, and tomorrow is something. Always new things come about. Some of them make you wonder. Like, I haven't had my 3C sales moment from Demolition Man yet. I haven't quite hit that point. Maybe in another 10 years when life has started to pass me by, and I'm like now an old and crotchety old man, I'll be like, what is this toy? Oh, that's a something or other. And I'll be like, oh. And I'll be like, in my head will be like, I feel sheepish. I show my dad my microphone, like my actual microphone for when I record stuff like abroad. And he's like, that's a microphone? It's like, yes, Dad. That's a microphone. That's a microphone.
This? A microphone. I know. You can even put it on your head. It's weird.
Oh, mine's not one of those. It's one of the big Zoom giant mics. It doesn't really look like what you would think a microphone would look like. But it's a microphone and it records everything fantastically well. And it's like, this is what I use when I'm on the road because it works. Yeah. Right? It works. And it's a better quality than anything else I got. And it's like, oh, well. He looked at that. He's like, that's a microphone? It's like, yes, it is a microphone. It's actually a really good microphone. This is the real shit. It's like, how'd you get that? My sponsor gave it to me. It's great.
Aw, thanks, sponsor. Should we give them a shout out?
They're not my sponsor anymore, although I will happily mention them anyway. No, we had a good relationship. It just ran its course. Indie Imprint, which is a video game company, which, ironically might have been a reason why I headed into the direction of Twitch, actually, ironically enough.
Wow, they got you your start.
Yeah, well, no, so Indie Imprint sponsored me for 15 months. It was a good relationship. I enjoyed it. I learned the value. Speaking of charging yourself, that was the episode that was my biggest. I could have gotten a lot more money on that sponsorship deal than I did, and I was foolish. I learned that was probably one of the most valuable lessons I ever learned. And going back to price point matters.
You weren't an expert then.
Wasn't an expert then, but also this is just one of those like mistakes in life. We have a natural habit, I think, as creatives to undervalue what we do.
I don't get it, because everything that you see in this god dang world was made by a creative. Even the scientific stuff. It takes a creative scientific person to create anything. It's in the name. Creation. Creatives.
I agree. No, I totally agree with you. But see, here's what happens. Right? You take for granted what you do. And everybody does. There are skills you have that you're like, nothing special. Right? And it's probably something nobody else has thought to do. It might not be hard. Like some of the stuff I do, I don't really feel is hard. But then again, I've done some of this stuff for so long, I don't remember when it was hard either. It's like there comes a point where it's just like, it's kind of like breathing. Oh, I got to put a podcast together really quickly. Da, 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 da. How long did that take you? 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to test how hard one of your skills is, just imagine teaching it to somebody else, right? How long would it take for them to learn it? Is it organizing emails? You could do that really quickly. Is it writing a book or creating an illustration? That takes years to master. So, your value is there.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Actually, I think my favorite one was my sister thought about doing some audiobooks on the side. So I gave her a very brief crash course on how to do it. That brief crash course was 3 hours. Right? That was the crash course. It wasn't like the and she shortcutted some shit because it's just like I like it because I was like told her it's like you want a good example, like I want to do some good examples and stuff like that, and she's like I'll be good with that. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna fight you, but you probably like it's one of those things where it's like I wasn't worried, like, but I told her how to make one, and I showed her the basics on how to do it with Audacity, and this is what you do, this is how you do it. It's like, how long did that take me? That took me 60 hours to learn, and I taught you the basics in 3.
Yep. And that's why even if you're teaching people, even if you're not spending that much time helping somebody out, the value there is that you took the time to learn everything. 60 hours worth of knowledge got boiled down to 3 hours, and hopefully it sticks, but that's for them to figure out. But you save them 57 hours. How much per hour is that valued? And then that's what you can charge.
Oh, I know. And I know that, again, I have a magic number. I will actually let people know, like, my secret for my podcast services, I tend to charge $50 an hour, just as a baseline, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a friend, I'll go a little less, but only a little less. Mm-hmm. And if you're not a friend, I go, that's my basic. And if you're an asshole, that depends on.
There's an asshole fee.
There is, always.
Yeah, always.
You're an asshole. Okay, that's that, and that's like it's like what kind of asshole are you? It depends on the fee. If I can tolerate it, it's only a little. If I have a hard time tolerating it, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Again, I value not resenting my jobs, and I think one of the biggest things I think that creatives always have to look at, it's like, yeah, you know what? It doesn't have to be a glamorous job. You can still find fun in it. Never resent it.
Yeah, you don't, right. There's this idea, and it's a gift. It's a gift if you love what you do. If you wake up every day and the sun shines on you through the clouds because you get to work your job, that is a gift. You don't have to love your job for it to make life better for you. Mm-hmm. You just have to be grateful for it.
Absolutely.
If you're at that point where you're like, I can't tolerate this anymore, I am not grateful for this, it's time to leave the job. But if you can just, yes, I'm glad I have this job. This is fine. It could be worth it to stick around so that you could pursue something that you really love. Or what is the job doing for you? Is it letting you go hike? Go hike. Is it letting you raise a family? That's great. Mm-hmm. But you're right. It's about resentment. If you're resenting what you are doing, it is time for change.
Yeah. No, then you need to walk. And if you can't walk right that minute, you just take the first step to walking away right then and there. Because whether you believe it or not, you have taken that first step.
Right. You've emotionally detached.
Well, no, you've gone past. You haven't quite. You don't necessarily hit that point yet. That does come, but you haven't necessarily hit that point yet. What you've hit the point is like, I hate my job, and when you hit that point, so here's the thing: work is worship. Work is worship. Well, no matter what you do for a living, how you work is going to dictate how you live your life. Period. So you gotta be very careful with what you surround yourself with. If you're around stuff you resent all the time, what's going to end up happening is you're not, sooner or later, consciously or unconsciously, you're going to stop making that effort you need that got you to where you're at.
And you're going to get fired eventually.
Eventually. No, like I said, you're on your way out the door. Like that's,
Mm-hmm.
when you get to that point where you hate your job, you've already taken the first step to leave. Recognizing that. Now you can course correct. If you absolutely cannot leave, you can find a way to find some enjoyment in there somewhere. You can negate that tie. But if you can't, then eventually becoming detached from the job doesn't necessarily mean you resent the job. Like when I was working a day job, I was very detached from the results of the day job because I understood what the day job was and more importantly what it wasn't. And it very rarely stuck with me when I left the place because I just wouldn't let it. It was one of those situations where it was like, this was, and again, I don't have any hard feelings about the job and the people I worked with. They were great people. It's just, it wasn't forever. And deep down, I knew it. So what it came down to for me was when I walked away from it, when I was finally like, when I went to Vancouver, one of the reasons is like I knew that there would be a point in Vancouver, even if things had gone when there was no pandemic. I was at a point where I was pretty much at the point of my money was starting to massively pile up. I had taken care of everything I needed to take care of for a very foreseeable future if I'd stuck in Vancouver. And all I had to do at that point, see if I can get myself on some movie sets because that was the next step for me. I was already taking movie courses very quietly because I knew I was going to leave. Like I had already made the decision that at the end of April was going to be my last month on this ship. I'm walking away at this date at this time. And then the pandemic hit and I left a month early. If I had found a way to stay that extra month, I would have been, like financially speaking, I would have been very, very comfortable. And maybe if I had stuck around, I probably would have ended up in the movie city eventually anyway. But at the time, I didn't know, and I had to make a guess. I don't regret the decision I made, but the whole point was when I had gone to where I was, I knew that my days working for that company were over. Like were numbered. All I was doing was prepping for what was next. That's it. Everything else was just getting to that moment. And I won't know if that would ever work again. I was ready to walk away. And I had made that decision, and one of the reasons going to a new city was like, let's carve a new niche and identity and kind of see if this will work out. And so that didn't work according to plan. I don't think, I mean, literally it was an act of God, legitimately, that kind of said, no, okay, fine, no. Still walking away. I'd committed to walking away anyway. So it walked away, went through the crash course of freelancing for the first 6 to 8 months, figured out what I was going to do, and that's what I wish I'd figured it out early, but you never do in those situations. You almost never do.
You have a ballpark estimate of what you might do, but it takes trying things out to really get that course going. And if you can, what you're talking about, right, how I'm interpreting it, is you felt that there was a transition coming. You didn't fight that transition. You prepared for that transition. There was a deadline, so you knew how to prepare and for when. And when that deadline came, you dove into it, no looking back, right? For better or for worse. And then there was this learning curve, but the learning curve turned into something that you seem to be happy about or feel positive about. And so just not sticking around in a place that you hated, and right, because so many creatives do this where they just drop everything and they're not prepared for that drop, and then they go, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to blah blah blah, right? They're not prepared for that change, and then they're not valuing themselves the right way. They're taking on clients that they hate. They're getting disillusioned by everything, and they fall back into their old patterns of going into jobs that they don't like. So it is good to recognize, geez, I feel this resentment for my job. I can't keep working here. I need a change. I'm going to prepare for that. Rather than I need to change, I'm dropping everything right now. Let's go.
Well, like the drop everything moment for most of us happens because we ignored those signs earlier than when we should have. Again, I never hated the job I was at. I never quite got to the point of resentment, but I just knew it. I just hit that point. I hit that point where it was like, I feel nothing coming here. I don't feel accomplished. I feel like I got a paycheck, which is always nice.
Right.
I was getting a decent paycheck at that point in time. But it was like, no. Like, I was like, in my head, it was like, I would be much happier right now being on a movie set, learning the ropes of a movie. I'd be much happier writing something. I'd be much happier doing my podcast. I'd be much happier, like, just doing other things, whatever those other things are.
If you were that kind of person where you were self-reflecting, I could see that I feel nothing feeling turning into resentment, or worse, fluctuating as I feel numb about life, right? And that's a dangerous place to be.
Well, this goes by I say by where your work is your worship. You got to be very careful about how you approach working any job, not just the jobs you want to, because here's the thing. Okay, so the job I was at, even though I had very little emotional attachment to it, I went in and I didn't fear being bad or terrible or none of that stuff. Like, I had no pressure in my head. There was no pressure to try to impress the boss or try to get these jobs. Like, it's not there. But what was there was, it's like, okay, no matter what, I would do my absolute best I could with the situation I was given. Better or for worse, at least I'm going to try. It's time to go. I'm going to walk away. I'm not even going to think twice. But while I'm here, I'm going to put an effort. And I make that a very conscious thing wherever I go and whatever I do, because it's not so much about this job. It's about what I do when I go home. It's about what I do when I'm not there, because every position you put yourself in, you have the opportunity to create habits for yourself. And those habits carry with you throughout. More often than not, people will look at a job like, okay, again, everybody does this to some degree. There are jobs where you could have moments where you can coast, and you do. And there's a point and there's a time where you can take that breather, make that, like, relax and not worry about that adjustment and all those. And then that's a good thing. Don't think that's a good thing. Every job has that, whether they realize it or not. It's just about getting into that rhythm and pattern and figuring it all out. The thing is, those bad habits you have, right? Those bad habits you will carry with you. You carry with you throughout everything else you do. They start usually in places you have no feelings or no resentment towards. Now, if you have no feelings, you can keep a certain level of professionalism. But once it becomes resentment, you're going to slowly sabotage yourself. And it's not the job you're sabotaging yourself primarily that you got to worry about. It's when that sabotaging actually hits in every other aspect of your life, because it will.
Yeah.
Right? Because it will. Most of us, almost none of us can fully compartmentalize our lives. How we deal with
especially an emotion like resentment.
Yeah, especially. So how we deal with our emotional our emotional stability in the workplace will affect our romance. How our romantic partners are, how we treat them, they treat us. That's going to impact our work, career. Everything ties together. It's not just one thing; it's everything. So when you're looking at your attitude, the whole work is worship. It's your habits. Your habits make or break you. And like I said, we know none of us are perfect. There are definitely things in my game I can definitely work on. It's not about being perfect. It's about recognizing, it's like, what is the fundamentals I can do to discipline myself and do well, right? That I'm not sabotaging myself. Because the real battle in this life, you're not always going to win every battle. That's not what this is about. What it's really about is, when you lose the battle, it can't be because of you. It has to be because of other things beyond your control. Let it be other things. Try not to get in your own way when you do something, right? Getting out of your own way is one of the hardest things to do. And that's not honest. Again, it's an honest sense of what you do well, what you don't do well, what you struggle with. And sometimes you can't avoid what you struggle with. Fine. How do you minimize it, right? that's, again, none of us are perfect. We don't have to be perfect, but what we have to be is aware of what we do and what we don't do well, and understand those things and apply those things everywhere we go, right? And if you can do that, if you can honestly do that, you will, at the very minimum, you'll be a competent worker anywhere you go. If you must work a day job, you'll be competent, disciplined, maybe even above average, because at the very least you will be consistent, right? Which is something incredibly rare, even in our field. Consistency is huge, and that's how you get it. It's the habits you form, the discipline you make. That's what makes you succeed. And a lot of times, that's why you don't. Does that make sense?
Habits. You heard it here first, y'all. Habits.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I check mark on that. We're at that 15-minute mark. Should we start drawing?
We probably should. Yeah. Probably. What do you want? Yeah, like I said, I'm going to be going some Studio Ghibli Pirates. That's what I'm going to do.
All right. I'm going to be working on the kids' book. You'll have noticed, right, because I did LinkedIn for like the whole last year. I was super active on it and whatnot. And since taking this kids' book illustrator pro class, they dive more, not just into how to make a kids' book, but also like how to get professional, how to attract the right people, how to make that into a career, right? And a lot of what they say regarding social media makes sense. I've also been listening to Deep Work by Cal Newport. Every pro listens to that, and then they tell other pros to listen to that, and it's self-perpetuating. But it goes into the was it Deep Work? Yeah, it goes into the idea that you can fill up your time with a lot of shallow tasks that feel satisfying, that because you do a lot of them, it feels like your day is busy, but they don't really get you as far. Whereas if you just focus on a handful of really deep work throughout the day, that gets you further. And it's grueling if you do it all the time because it takes so much focus, but the rewards are you see more mileage in the direction that you want to go, right? So I've been listening to that, and I've been listening to what these pros are telling me, and I'm listening to what other illustrators online have been saying. And it's really made me rethink how I approach social media, right? So I've taken a break from LinkedIn, from a lot of the social media pages, just to tackle the whole, I don't want social media to be another job, right? I want it to be the result of my work. I don't want my work to be dictated by social media. So in that vein, I have been doing a lot of illustrations that I haven't been broadcasting online because I just wanted to focus on it. And so I've been working on this kid's book. It's Jack and the Beanstalk still, and I've worked on the book dummy. It's basically a bunch of sketches on every page that looks professional enough to show an art director or your art agent, whoever it is who's editing, who's handling the book as it's getting published. And now I'm going to choose one of them to start taking to finish so that I can demonstrate the process to the key players who matter. So I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
And we'll get this party started.
Let's start doing that. Whoa.
Da-da-da-da.
So, what do you mean by social media not dictating your life? And go into wonderful detail there.
The ideal way that you use social media is dictated. If you're using social media, you don't own any of the IP that you put onto it. Yes, it's your IP, but you don't own the social media page. If the social media site went out, if YouTube went out, if Facebook or Instagram went out, so do all your posts and all of your followers there, right? So you could be posting on that every day on the schedule that they tell you is best for the algorithms, and chance could happen or the market could happen, and all of that work would go down the drain, right? Now, if instead, which is what the mentors are talking about, you work on this project that advances your career, right? I'm working on this kids book and I wanted to advance my career. And I start posting what I'm doing with this project onto social media, which funnels people into the website, which funnels people into an email submission list, right? Subscription. Then I own that work, and that work doesn't. It's worth it. So when I'm saying I'm taking a break from social media, what I mean is there's certain ways to craft it's the tactics of social media. There are certain ways you craft it. There are certain art images that you can post that attracts more people. And I don't want to be dictated by that. I want to focus on what I'm doing because I know that's going to advance my career. So that's what I mean by it. Does that make sense? I mean, social media can be a full-time job if you let it.
Oh, absolutely. Like, so I'm actually one of my clients. They were talking about like her promotion strategy. We've started doing her podcast vlog stuff, and I'm kind of playing more of a VA producer role to it. Like, I'm that kind of producer. I'm not doing much of the content creation stuff of it. I built her store basically to post stuff. And like I said earlier, as long as I maintain it, the tasks won't be taxing on my end, right? Because it's just I've made it simple for me, right? Because I've done it so much, it's like, okay, this is easy enough. And interestingly, I'm teaching through her. I'm also learning YouTube because I've never made YouTube a priority, right? I've made Twitch a priority, which is that's just a choice, because I just again, from a community standpoint, Twitch is way more fun. I just find it way more enjoyable. My whole philosophy with social media is make it fun and not worry about any of the trends and stuff like that, because trends come and go, and the business, as they say, is a business. It will change right in front of you all the time. Right now, again, you can keep up with it, and there's lots of people that do a very great job of it, and they get paid oodles and oodles of money, and mazel tov. Right? Listen, there's always going to be a demand for that kind of deal, and I get it. I totally do, actually. It's one of those things where I just look at it and go, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Right? It's just not for me. I'm going to have fun on social media because that, to me, makes sense. Right? Because that's what, this is about being social.
Right.
So if I'm going to...
Go on, as I'm going to pull up a quick I'm going to draw a quick diagram referencing what we're kind of talking about here.
Yeah.
I took a note of it, so I'm going to flip through my notes.
As I did a warm-up dragon, it looks like. Hey, cool.
Hey.
But no, for me, it just came to me that that I recognize that for me, social media, first and foremost, has to be fun. Or really, what's the point of doing it? If you're gonna sound like everybody else, in which case you're probably not going to stand out, or you're going to even worse. Again, let's go back to resentment. Oh my God, I'm posting about this stupid thing again. Why can't people talk about something fun? Right? And you think I kid? There are a lot of people like that. I'm trying to keep what's in and what's cool. It's like, I'm not cool. I'm already doomed to failure, guys. I'm not cool. I'm not even gonna try.
We're just accepting that now. We're doomed to failure here.
And when it comes to being cool, I didn't say I was doomed to fail. I just said if I'm gonna play the game everybody else is playing, it's over. It just is over. You're not going to this is a game where you have to understand what's your game. What do you want out of this?
Who, me?
No, I'm no. I think that's in general everybody, not just you, but everybody. What do you want out of this? Do you want to enjoy the process of what you're doing, right? Or are you going to let yourself be dictated, right, by everything else?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if the answer is I'm gonna let everything else dictate for me, I mean you can. I'm not gonna say don't. But one day you're gonna be talking about, maybe the Milwaukee Bucks winning the NBA championship. And then the next day you're going to be talking about Beyonce. I don't know about you, but that doesn't seem very consistent other than I'm just trying to cash in on the popular shit. Please pay attention to me. Right? And I'm not sure that is the goal you should be aspiring to if you're serious about, trying to make an impact and stand out. And so I decided that social media is first and foremost, it's going to be fun. Because I'm not going to be cool. So I'm just going to have fun. And if I can find people that have fun with me, great, mm-hmm. Great and wonderful. Otherwise, again, my own personal experience, the spaghetti that sticks to the wall is pretty close to the person throwing the spaghetti to begin with.
Boom. So this is something that I've learned this week, right? I'm loving this course, right? And it's going into what you're saying about why are you doing what you're doing? What's your reason, right? So in the publishing world, in any creative, artistic, you're a writer, you're an animator, all these other things, why are you creating? Are you creating because what?
I'm listening. I'm just grabbing a drink.
Yeah, no worries. Are you creating because you need to? If you're creative, that's probably true. It's probably in your personality that you absolutely need to, right? So here, it's probably always going to be some form of I need to create because I'm a creative, right? So then the secondary reason is, are you creating also because you need to make money? Or are you happy with your day job? Do you want your creativity to be your day job? If it's A and B, you need to make money and you need to create, then you're probably in the self-publishing realm, right? That's probably what you should be doing. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got that mixed up. Yeah, you're doing D instead. You're doing client work. Oh, where'd that come from? Yeah. Yep. You're doing client work if you're if you need to create and you need to make money, right? If instead it's A and C, where you need the validation and you need to create, you're probably self-publishing. If instead it's I guess make money and validation, B and C, it's kind of just a job for you, but as a creative, you probably do need to create. Where am I? I don't know. I need this color coded.
I'm listening. I'm following you.
I'm color coded. If you just need the validation and you need to create, then you're probably looking for online communities. You don't need to make money for this, right? But right in the middle of it, there's like this publishing realm, because, well, we're getting into a niche specific field, right? Publishing, but you could put animation in there. You could put writing a book. You could put whatever into this field where A, B, and C come together, right? You need to create, you need to make money, you need validation and purpose. You find your higher purpose right in the center there. Mm-hmm. But depending on these two, like if it's just 2 out of 3, it's going to dictate the way that you're using social media to attract the people that you want to attract. If you just want online communities, then you probably get a Patreon, or you join forums, or you get a Twitter and you get a lot of followers, Instagram, something. If you're looking at self-publishing, you're trying to create a portfolio that looks attractive to the key players. If you're trying to get client work, you're you're looking professional to the people who will pay you out of their own pockets rather than a company. So whoever your end community is, your target is, that's going to change how you use social media, which is why I've kind of taken a rest with LinkedIn or with social media, because I really want to work on my portfolio to look attractive to a career, not just a community of people who say, I like your stuff, way to go, I'll pat you on the back. I want it to attract the people who will give me a career's worth of income, stable income for however long I want to commit to this.
Okay, so basically, you're I think heading down a publishing route at some point, just based on how you're doing it. Now, me, I have a bit of all three.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
The thing is,
all three is publishing route.
Yeah, all three. Thing is, I've accomplished 1 and 2. I'm A and C. I've accomplished those things. Validation, yes, I have. I'm an award-nominated poet and podcaster. I have all the validation you could possibly want.
Mm-hmm.
I never have to go for another award because I've won one, been nominated for that award 3 times, and I've been nominated for another award. So it's like, hey, validation's sweet, except I already got some. Now I just want one.
Know what you want.
Yeah, that's right. And because here's the ultimate argument for people that just want money. Here's the truth. If you are getting validated, that means you're definitely worth something out there into the world. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is. And if we're going to pretend otherwise, we are lying to ourselves. So
yeah, lying.
So, right, we do want some kind of validation. Now, there's a few ways to get validation. Awards are nice. I'm not going to say they're not nice, because I'd be lying to you. They do feel kind of good. But you know,
it's part of the validation. If you want validation, awards are the way to go.
But here's the thing. Do you know what's no? See, au contraire, Shani. There is something about there's something more validating than even awards. Do you know what's more validating than an award?
Surely not.
Paycheck is wonderfully validating. Because there's nothing that says your work is worth something other than to see an actual number that's a lot of zeros in front of the decimal. Not behind the decimal, in front of the decimal, with a number in front of it.
Could you imagine? It's all these numbers behind the decimal.
Imagine. Oh my gosh.
It's just like you got 0.927346332 today. Congratulations.
I didn't even get $1. Dear.
But there's so many numbers.
There's so many numbers. No. So someone went to me. So actually, I here's a funny story. So I'm gonna probably leave this group because this happened twice, and both times I basically just said nope. Someone came up to me and asked me, "Hey, would you like to?" Because I have a lot of connections. It's like, "Would you like to be published in my book?" I'm like, "Sure. How much?" "Oh no, you'll pay us." I'm like, okay, sure. It's like, so that was the first one. The second one goes, "Could you refer people to me?" I'm like, "How much?" $200 a head.
So that you can refer people to them?
Mm-hmm. They pay me $200. Yeah, it's because I have lots of connections, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they go, no. This is not about me. How much are you paying them? Oh, we're charging them. Said, you know what? You'd be farther ahead doing a course. Because if you're doing a course, it looks a lot more valid because any of the writers I know will ask for money up front.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to teach them how to make six figures. It's like, that's great. You're a six-figure franchise. You should be able to pay them.
Yeah, right? Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's just what it comes down to.
Pyramid scheme.
Yep. It's like, you just made my point for me. Thank you. It's like, well, what do you mean? Because if you were worth the money you said you were worth, then you should have no problem paying somebody a few $100s.
Yeah, right? If a company is asking you to do something for free, like if they email you or they call you or something, they paid somebody to write that email to ask you to do something for free. They can afford you, okay?
Yep. That's right. I'm a hooker, and I don't do it for free.
God damn. Pay for these juicy bits.
Oh, come on. Come on. You had to know there was
capitalism.
You had to know there was something whorish about me when you came on the show.
Who knew?
A whore. I like him, but he's a whore.
So well.
Yes. But it's just one of those things. Like once you recognize this as a person, is that once people start, again, I love being approached, but I'm being like so, how do I put this? I am so this way on purpose because it's like, okay, how much do you want me? Oh, we don't want to pay you. Well, thanks for wasting my time. Bye.
Yeah, I guess you don't want me.
Yeah, it's like,
no, I mean, value. How money-wise? How much?
Yeah.
We just really like the personality. Yeah, but how much?
No. You like my personality a lot less right now that you've done this to me. So now, how much?
So with the pandemic coming to an end here, and I took advantage of the pandemic. I was like, cool, I'm getting unemployment. And where I used to work fired me, and this isn't great. So I'm going to start my own business because only I can fire me then. Har, 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 har. Right? So I got the unemployment and I started developing my own business, and thus the Art Bard was born. Ta-da-da-da. It was a beautiful day for all. Sun, clouds.
I could hear it in my eyes.
Trying to avoid the glow that was this destiny. Okay, right? So now that the pandemic is, for whatever reason, the policy is not... the pandemic's not coming to an end, but the policy makers pretend it is. So we're no longer getting unemployment checks come September 21st, I think. I've been looking for a job, right? Luckily, I now live with somebody who has given me a job. I am sound production coordinator for a staging company that, like, when presidents come to town, this company fucking sets them up, right? That's great. I enjoy this work. I'm admin material. I can do this. But wait, it's only part-time. I need another job. So I go out and I start looking for, ideally, jobs that have that mountain view, right? The destination that I want to go towards. I want a job that takes me closer to that destination. Here's a painting instructor at a bar. It's like a wine and sip paint instructor, right? That sounds great. Let's do that. I do that every month anyways, so let's get paid to do that. I get to the job interview, and this is all done online, and I'm like, okay, well, let's talk compensation. And she gives me all these ifs, ands, buts, base rate, little bonuses. It doesn't meet what I need. And then she tries to sweeten the deal, being like, okay, well, so we need paintings that we can offer people because this is a paint and sip kind of deal. So our clients, our guests need to paint something. That means we need new paintings on the regular. We will pay our artist $35 that others can paint. Oh, wow. Okay. $35. That's amazing. Uh-huh. What about the IP? Do I get to keep that painting in my portfolio? Can I use it? Oh, no. That IP belongs to the company at that point. So you can continue to get royalties, $5, $5 for each studio that uses it nationwide. You get $5 every time, but only if you keep working for us. Once you stop working for us, you don't get those royalties anymore. Huh. Okay, so $35 to transfer all of the usage rights and the license to you indefinitely, forever. That is less than half my rate as an artist hourly. Okay, big story time. I'll put there. It was. Of course, I declined because it doesn't make sense to work a job that doesn't pay what I need it to pay. But you were talking about how much do you want me, right? Let's put a money value to that, and that's that whole story is what that inspired.
Forget your big story. Hold on. I would say yes. Hear me out here. Before you jump. If my first picture can be this. Look. If my first picture, just look at my first picture can be just this. To all my clients.
Damn. That's a big middle finger, everybody. That is what you're seeing. The audio version, that is, he is flipping the bird.
That's right. And it's like, if I can do that to you,
I would.
And to all your clients, I will do a $35 painting, and that will be it. Me giving them the finger.
And you are so welcome. I understand where they're coming from. They're quote unquote a small business that is also happens to be a franchise in some way. I don't know how you are franchised nationwide, but also a small business. But that makes sense, right? But what they're playing off of is the artist that just comes out of school, or somebody who doesn't know the value of what they bring to the effing world. Again, we're back to that question, right? How hard is what you do? Well, try teaching it to somebody else, and then you'll figure out how hard it is. And they want $35 a painting for that? Full usage rights? No. They're playing on this societal notion that artists should be starving artists, right? That's romanticized. That's why so many artists go to the market undervaluing themselves, because society has taught them to do that.
Mm-hmm. That's me. I'm like, I can get, and he goes like, well, I can get that guy to do it for that. So then go get that guy to do it for that.
Yeah, go ahead, come on. Jesus, I'm not gonna do it.
I'm not that kind of hooker. I'm sorry. I'm just not.
I'm a classy bitch, dude.
That's right. Damn right. I'm a whore, but I'm a high price.
They weren't so far away.
What?
Maybe I would have done it if they weren't so far away, but that's whatever.
No. Like I said, I would have said yes. Yeah. And
if
I can date naked, my one painting a real thing. You cannot paint a giant finger. Well, you should have paid me more money because that's all it's worth.
Well, I guess you cannot afford me.
Mm-hmm. That's all. Because that's all you're gonna get from my. It's all you're gonna get from my wonderful hard work. You're gonna get a giant finger.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was listening to NPR, right? I do that. I'm an NPR person. And they were doing a report about why restaurant workers aren't going back into the restaurant, right? Like, you really need an effing synopsis of this. I mean, anybody who's worked in the restaurant world knows why. But they did a report. And lo and behold, the workers didn't like being underpaid, didn't like getting yelled at by staff and by customers. They couldn't afford it. The hours were horrible and unpredictable, no benefits, everything that we know about it, right? And there's finally the mentality that's coming around that exists in every other business, right? The restaurant owners, they're hiring new people, and they're complaining about even with these new bonuses, which are hardly bonuses, they're just kind of standard for all the other industry, but they're bonuses because it's the restaurant world. Even with all these bonuses, people are still declining to work with them. And it's like, please take pity on us. We're poor restaurant owners. This is the most that we can pay you. We can't afford to pay you anymore. And of course, the response is, ba-ba-da-da, you can't afford to be in business.
Yep.
If you can't afford to, if your business's success is subsidized by the workers' welfare, then you can't afford the workers.
That's it.
That is all, everybody. That is Shani's rant tonight.
That's right.
You go, Shani.
That's right, Shani. Okay, so what Shani and I am saying is, be high class bitches.
That's right.
Charge yourself to the moon because you're worth it.
The minute you start undervaluing yourself, you make it okay for an employer or anybody else to undervalue you. Don't make that okay.
Nope. Now, you don't have to draw a giant finger like I would. Right?
You're just classy like that.
I am. Oh, yeah. Although I did get a chuckle out of you. It's like, yeah, you would, because you could totally see me do it too. I know.
I'm sure you don't care about it, so of course you would.
Yeah. Like, I don't. It's like, okay. It's like, well, you're not paying me enough to care, so I'm going to treat this job like I don't care.
So this is going to be hilarious. Watch this.
Yep. And someone's going to look at me. It's like, you can't treat a job like that. It's like, yeah, I can.
Watch me, dude.
That's right. I do it all the time. As far as I'm concerned, the day jobs all my day jobs are my bitch, not the other way around. You're going to work for me. I'm not going to work for you. I'll work
a fake that is listening right now, and they're like, geez, these two are so ungrateful about the jobs that we life have given them. I want fate to know I'm not ungrateful. I just know my worth.
Oh, I'm grateful for all the jobs. They made me the way I am today. I'm not jinxing. It's like, fate, you taught me a wonderful lesson. Thank you very much. I'm worth way more.
I have learned something today.
Yeah. No, it's like, no, be thankful for every bad experience you have because they always teach you if you're letting them learn good things. Failure is the harshest teacher, but also there's lots to learn. And so be grateful for all of those things, especially your failures. Because if you can be grateful for your failures, when successes come along, you'll be even more grateful because your failures are what leads you to successes. Every bad job I had, I'm grateful I had. I'm also grateful I walked away from all of them.
You only need to experience a single type of failure once. And experiencing that is going to propel you so far if you give it a chance.
Oh,
just don't make the same mistake twice.
Or at least do it differently if you go end up back there. That's the thing.
Have a better plan next time.
That's right.
That's right.
There's no rules on the number. You can learn from failure every time, right? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result. But failure, there's a certainty in this life, and you can again. One of my favorite quotes from Star Trek: The Next Generation was from Captain.
Oh, I know this one.
Yeah. Which one? What am I going to say?
Well, I want to say it because I want to show that I know it, but I don't want to take your thunder.
Go. Take my thunder. Take my thunder. If you got it, I'll add to it. Take my thunder. Go for it.
And Jean-Luc Picard says, you can do everything exactly right, all perfectly, and still fail. And that is not a true failure. That's just life.
Very close.
I paraphrased.
The exact quote he said, Mr. Data, it is possible to do every move correctly and still lose. That's life. That's it. That's
I didn't even take your thunder. You had it verbatim.
I did have it verbatim. You had the right idea. Right. So there's this great little YouTube spot where all these classic Next Generation and DS9 scenes are. And one of my favorite, from season 2, that is one of my favorite episodes.
There's a lot of hidden gems within all the sci-fi hilarity.
Not all of them. Not all of them. Just
all of them. Not all of
them. There's the really good ones, yes. And sometimes there's gems in the bad ones, but I almost swear they're by accident. I almost swear it's like you know how a stopwatch is right, twice a day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they were bound to get
happen by accident. Just don't expect them to figure out how to do it regularly. It's like, oh my god, you did something right. Oh,
do it again.
Right? I'm such a terrible person. Really.
One episode was just. There's one episode of Star Trek that I watch every year for my birthday because it makes me giggle. Amok Time.
What?
Do you know that one?
No, I don't know. I don't know. Which episode? Which series?
That is First Gen.
Month of Time?
Amok Time. It just makes me giggle like a little schoolgirl every time I watch it.
Okay. No, I'm not. So there are episodes I do like from the original, right? But they're not the ones. They're not. It's not my favorite one because it Next Generation. Next Generation is great. They're great. But the one that makes me really, 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 really happy is DS9. That one's my favorite of all the Star.
Absolutely.
Of all the Star Treks, that's my favorite.
Followed by Voyager.
I don't like Voyager very much.
Oh, ouch! Ouch! I thought we were friends.
No. Hear me out here, okay? This is the. I just think Voyager came at the wrong time, is what I actually think. I thought as a premise, Voyager has probably one of the strongest premises of all of Star Trek. I think the concept is really, really cool. They actually have, instead of exploring space, going out and exploring space, they're actually trying to get back home. I love the inverse of that. It's a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, you just finished DS9 was going on at the same time as Voyager was. And DS9 had literally the greatest cast of all of Star Trek. It was such a strong cast that the supporting cast, not even including the main characters, the supporting cast could carry episodes on their own. Are you
talking about the characters or the actors?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Kate Mulgrew was pretty good.
No. In terms of the Voyager cast is sound. I'm not going to knock the Voyager main cast at all, but let me put it to you like this, okay? The evolution of characters like Cisco, Nog, Rom, and by the way, those are not two main characters on the show. They're guest stars, not even main characters, right?
They still evolve.
They evolve. And that's Voyager's biggest downfall. Like, you could literally miss weeks of Voyager and not notice the difference. What they try to do with Voyager is they wanted to do a throwback to the original Star Trek. Thing is, Kirk and the crew would go on this week adventure. They get into all whatever peril, and then they come out of it relatively unscathed, and they go on to the next mission. And in the 1960s, that was a great formula. But if you look at the evolution of characters, the only two characters you could really say that really, really got a chance to evolve from their original premises were the Doctor and 7 of 9.
And we both know why they got to evolve.
Yes.
As opposed to everybody else. But go on.
And honestly, I think the failure on that one is Ensign Kim, because that was a gimme, and they blew it.
Yeah, he started as an ensign. It would have been so easy to just bump him up every season,
or not even just bump him up. Like the fact that you can go back to his perspective every so often and just see him as how he's evolved from when he started. It was right there, and they never did it. Right? So if you look at the cover evolution of Martok, and by the way, I'm using guest stars on DS9. I'm not even touching the main cast yet. Right? Martok, Garrick, right?
Oh, Garrick was such a handful.
Gul Dukat, Damar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even the Grand Nagus.
Even
as silly as he was.
Yes.
Right? As silly as he was. He evolved. From where he started and where he ended, he evolved. I mean, the one character you felt was, and it wasn't even her fault, the least developed character in the main cast was Ezri Dax, and that was because she was only around for one season, and they still did a lot of cool things with her.
They did.
Yeah. And
they brought in her family.
Yeah. Like, but the only thing is, they rushed a little bit. I really feel like if they had a little bit more time with her, I would have enjoyed watching her and Bashir actually have a little bit more of a natural evolution of romance. They rushed it a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
He did kind of inherit that relationship dynamic.
Yeah. But her relationship, how it evolved. Okay, but even her and Worf, how Worf evolved, how their relationship evolved the whole way. One of my favorite scenes in the whole series is when they talk about the Klingon Empire. I thought that was such a cool, that is such a cool moment in that series because it's two people that respect the hell out of each other at this point in the series.
Right.
They honor they love each other. They still love each other. It's not the same as when Jadzia Dax was alive, but they still love each other. They honor each other's opinions, right? And I love her you're not gonna like it, and I think the Empire deserves to die. It's like you are right. Buddy. I do not like it, and it was just such a beautiful because it was a great summation. She was honest. She was fair, and then I love that after they had that serious conversation, he looked at Bashir playing the figures with O'Brien's like he is a child. And she's just looking at him like, I can't help what I feel. Right? But that's the relationship, right? And that's the thing. She only had a season. I can't look at the Voyager cast in all honesty, and I want to because they are great actors. They're all great actors. But their material forced them to be very static throughout the whole show. And I think that was honestly the show's biggest mistake. It would have been a lot more interesting because they were out on the frontier all by themselves. I think one of the things they could have played with a lot more than didn't was where each character had to compromise to survive out in the middle of without Federation's not there at their beck and call at their back.
Right.
So you're going to have to make compromises somehow, some way. They talked about it a little bit in the first season, but when you look at everything, by and large, the characters that started at Caretaker were the same character of the series. And I think that was the biggest blunder of it. I think if Voyager had come before DS9, it would have been better. The problem is, after you have, again, we haven't talked about, half the cast, right? And we could, right?
Right. That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, that DS9, the best two sci-fi shows of that era were DS9 and Babylon 5. Pick your ice cream.
Babylon 5.
What?
I didn't catch Babylon 5.
Oh, the first true novel on television. The first true novel on television. It did it before anybody else did. And honestly, it's like DS9 still had more great characters, but those are two incredible stories. The last episode of Babylon 5 made me cry like a baby. It was beautiful.
Wait, the last episode of DS9 didn't make you cry because it didn't
make me cry.
Are you kidding? Oh
man,
remember that episode where Jake, he outlives his dad and then he lives his life and then he goes.
Oh, that episode made me no. That's
the last episode had the same feeling.
Not quite. No, that episode you're talking about. No, that episode made me cry. Although it was a very unique spot in that series. I think my favorite episode in The episode that made me really think about it was during season 6 when they go into this. They find this colony of their future selves, like this generation of people that survive.
Yeah.
That one, like season 6.
That made you cry?
That one made me really sad. That one made me really sad because it was like it was cruel. Such a cruel what if, right? Just such a cruel what if. Wow. That one was really no, like there were moments, but no, DS9's last episode was fitting. I felt satisfied. I think the fact that one of the last scenes in there was Kira reprimanding Quark for getting into some kind of his usual shenanigans was like a nice. The fact that it was her station now, it was literally hers.
Oh, hold on, before you go any further. Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen DS9.
You haven't seen DS9's final episode? Wait, you never saw DS9's final episode?
If the viewers have not, they should probably turn this podcast off now.
So guys, Deep Space Nine ended in 2000. Babylon 5 also ended in 2000. Both final episodes are awesome, and you should watch both. You really, really should. You're not going to find a better. Both sci-fi shows still hold up incredibly well today.
True,
right? All right. Both of them hold up. Problem is, and this is what killed Voyager. Voyager was nowhere near as sophisticated as Deep Space Nine was. It was not as well thought out. It was good. It had its moments. I think here's the other sad thing. I think Voyager really found its voice in the last season. The last season of Voyager is actually good. I just wish that had been
what that means about all the other seasons. The last season was actually good. All the other ones, crap. Just crap.
I would say, honestly, the word for me, I wouldn't say crap, mediocre. I just think there was a lot of it could have done so much more with. They could have done so much more with so many of the characters that I really feel. Look, here's the one gimme that they didn't do that I really think they should have. It would have been great. Tom and B'Elanna getting married.
They did that.
No, they did a fake version. They didn't actually do the real one.
What do you mean they didn't do the real? They got married. They were husband and wife.
Go back and watch. It was not the real wedding. They did not do a real wedding episode for Tom and B'Elanna.
Real wedding episode? Or no, they just said, okay, we're married now, and that was that.
Yeah, but that's what a show that doesn't show any progression whatsoever. You have one of the only things, legitimately, that progression, and you don't show a payoff. Come on.
Yeah, they did build up to that moment, and then they
didn't do it. This is my point.
This is my point, Shani.
Yeah. This is why I say it's a mediocre show. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen in sci-fi. That honor falls to Andromeda.
Hold on. Because I had said that was my second favorite, but I'm neglecting that there are two current generations of Star Trek right now. And I'd have to say that Star Trek Discovery is a great contender.
I haven't seen Discovery yet. I'm not up to date. I'm really not. I did try to watch Picard.
That one was a little difficult for me, I'll be honest.
I'm 50-50 on that show. I think there were things I really liked. There are things I really didn't. And I realized that pacing is not really the thing of a lot of these shows anymore, and it's too bad. I think the pacing is what hurt that show. There's some really neat stuff in there. I did enjoy Data's final scenes. I thought were really, really good. It was
spoilers.
Yes. This one's actually I'm going to care a little bit more about because it's not that long ago. But Data's appearance in there was actually really, really moving. I loved 7 and 9's evolution in that show.
Yeah. Total badass.
Yeah. Also, the best dialogue for Deanna Troi I've ever heard. Sadly,
dude. She fucking hands it to him.
No, she does. I wish they had written Deanna like that the whole time. But that's neither here nor there. Like that's the The one criticism about the Next Generation cast, the weakest character was Troy, because by the time they made good episodes, it was towards the end of the series. She didn't have too many episodes where she stood out on her own. And it's too bad, because she's actually a really good character. And
no,
there's
dude,
a lot
the weakest character was Jesus, I can't even remember her name. Data's girlfriend.
Who?
Data's girlfriend, exactly. You don't even remember her because she died.
I'm talking main cast. I'm talking main cast, not her.
All right. Well, that episode where she died was a horrible episode. I don't even.
Are you talking about Tasha Yar?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah. Okay. Are you talking about Tasha? Oh, Tasha and her. That's an interesting one. Tasha could have been good. I actually think though the show, she's unfortunately an example of the show actually being better once she was gone. And honestly, I don't really feel it had anything to do with the quality of the actress. Denise Crosby did in the few episodes in season 1 she was a part of, she really did shine. There were episodes that featured her. The problem was, like, if you notice, the moment she was gone, Worf had a role, and so did Geordi. It altered the
how about that? How'd that happen?
But that's because, again, from a cast standpoint, right? From a casting standpoint, right? They hadn't quite figured out what to do with Geordi and Worf, right? And if she had stuck around, I do wonder what would have became of Worf. I think Geordi would have ended up in engineering anyway, but Worf, that's another thing altogether. And so in one hand, I'm kind of glad. On the other hand, there was more that could have been done with her, but I actually think in towards all the characters that were there for pretty much every season, it's Troy's the weakest character, and it's too bad because she could have been a lot stronger. They just didn't. And the episodes that I thought were really good with her were, and yes, this is spoilers, but again, this show has been around, finished in 1994. I don't really feel so guilty if you haven't seen it. So I feel far less guilty about shows 25 plus years old. The episode where they made her a Romulan was really good. That was actually probably her best episode, but her second best one was when her powers were taken away. That was interesting.
Yeah.
That one was really good. But again, her stuff she didn't really get a chance to shine until towards the end of the series. She was good. Great actress. This has nothing to do with the Star Trek Next Generation main crew might be the best all-time main crew. DS9 has the best cast top to bottom. All right, but Next Generation 7, oh my gosh, what an amazing 7 they were.
Can we talk about an underrated but hella strong female character who came in for multiple generations?
Go ahead, talk about whatever you want.
Anybody? All right.
What?
Loxana.
Oh, Loxana? Like Loxana?
Dude, she's a fucking badass. She doesn't take any shit. She sees right through people, and she's like, hey, all those effing thoughts you got going on, I'm going to need you to have just some self-control over that.
Are you talking about Deanna's mom?
Hell yeah, I am. And then her dynamic with Odo, oh, that was precious. And she was so wise about it.
My personal favorite, though, is her and Picard. I love what she did to him.
I can appreciate that. Yeah, she has a thing for powerful men.
But also, I think my favorite part is, like, she's right there to the course to her home world. What speed? Looking at her, looking at how she's looking at him. Warp 9. Like, okay, yep. There's fast again. I'm trying to get out of this. God help me. Right?
Whatever she says.
Yeah. But Loxana Troy is a very, very interesting character. But if you want to talk my all-time favorite female character in Star Trek, Major Kira.
She's an effing badass, dude.
Yes, she is.
A little too heavy with the religion for me, but given that she suffered so much and still stuck to her religion, that is such a sign of strength.
She's an incredible tough, and she was a lead. Like, she was a legitimate lead character on that show.
Absolutely.
And yeah, she was, and you know what? Nana Visitor is still hot to this day. I'm not even going to deny that, right? But the thing about Kira is she was such a powerful presence on her own. She was a powerful presence that just so happened, right, to be pretty. Not it wasn't like, oh, I'm being pretty for the sake of being pretty. Like the only downside I had was 7 of 9 was she was like, ooh, the Borg sex spy. I mean, she became.
Oh my god, they made every effort to make her fucking sexy, like to a Borg extreme. Like, it was very telling because the whole Borg standard was perfection, right? So it was very telling to see what the creators thought perfection looked like in a woman.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, again, Jerry Ryan, loads of respect for her. Not saying
great outfits on her own right.
Yeah. But I mean, and I will definitely say this. I do think while the show still had some of its many faults, she did make Voyager a lot more watchable, and it has nothing to do with her looks. The fact that she actually, of all the like I said, character growth was her.
She invited conflict by giving the outside perspective, and there's always one character on Star Trek that does that. By giving the outside perspective from somebody who feels that the human race doesn't do everything right. Like, it was a criticism on humanity. And of course, Data does that, and Spock did that, right? But
and Oda to some degree does that on DS9 too.
So there's somebody for every season, and that's what made her so interesting, was that conflict, that criticism of humanity. But like, that didn't have to be the only source of conflict. Everybody else seemed to be at peace with what it meant to be part of the Space Force, the Federation, and what it meant to be human. And I wish there had been more criticisms about it, or at least observations about it. And I wish it didn't have to come from somebody who was the idea of perfection for it to be a valid point of view.
Also, the number of times she was actually right on that show but was ignored was hilarious to me.
Oh my god. Just because she was Borg. Let that be a lesson, kids. The Borg's not always wrong. They're just a little cruel.
They're a little psycho. I mean, nobody's perfect.
They got their reasons.
Like I said, and this is why I say DS9 was an awesome show, and this is why it doesn't hold a candle. Voyager doesn't hold a candle to it. Right? Sorry.
I guess it would be my fourth favorite now.
What?
I guess it would be my fourth favorite now.
Did I really destroy it that badly for you?
No, I remember Discovery, and if it's between Picard and Voyager, I would have to choose Picard. So that would make it the fourth.
Okay.
Because that's DS9 fair. Is really good.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. So, yeah, this is it. Like, folks, I am out of touch with what is cool today. But I know good shit from back in my day, and
back in my day.
And here's the best part: almost no one's going to argue with me on that one
because nobody's nothing watching.
Oh no, it's not. I've even put this up there, like DS9 and Babylon 5. It's like, I like DS9. You know what I get? Do you know what I get? Vanilla and chocolate ice cream comparisons. Some people like vanilla, some people like chocolate. You can't really go wrong because it's ice cream.
Fair that. That.
All right.
Now, have you seen The Expanse?
What?
The Expanse?
I haven't seen that, no.
Oh, okay. Well, that should be in a binge for you. It's on Amazon.
Okay. I haven't warned you how uncool I am, right? I'm just letting you know this up front, right? It might be a while before I get to it. I'm too busy creating.
We spent 20 minutes on Star Trek, so we are both very uncool.
That's right. But you might be cooler than me. I wouldn't actually be surprised. It's like, is Shani cooler than me? Probably. It's okay.
I mean, I could hold my own in that conversation. We might be the same level of cool.
Okay. I think that's a good thing. Is that a good thing? Yeah,
I'll take it.
Okay, cool. I'll do it. I'm just making sure. I'm making sure we're good on it because
we're good.
Yeah, Yeah. It's just because I like you and respect you. Just want to make sure that it's over. I'm not stepping on any toes. I'm not I don't need to step on.
If you're a loser, I'm a loser. So.
I would, I'm a fucking nerd. Right? But no, I am. Oh my god. No, see, here's the thing. I don't actually think I don't quite think of it that way anymore. The cool thing about our age, I think maybe the last part of our conversation, at least officially on TV on the air. The cool thing about our time, this generation is we have access to everything now. It's not like it was back when we were still like watching television before the YouTube era, where it was like, hey, remember when like these shows would come on for a season, and we'd watch them and we'd think they were cool, or sometimes they sucked, and sometimes they're just a product of their time. Some shows have actually gotten better with time. Some shows have gotten worse with time. The show I think about the most on that one is a show like Friends.
Yeah, did not age well.
Yeah, no, the comedy show I absolutely hate is The Big Bang Theory. I just hate it.
Never got into it.
But I tried once, and then I recognized something very thing about it, and then I walked away from the show, and that was this: it could have been a smart show, and sometimes it tries to be, and when it tries to be, you are then incredibly disappointed when it goes back to 1920s tropes that were old when your grandparents were young. And then you go, God damn it, why?
Damn it!
Why did you do this? You didn't have to do this.
Why'd you do this? I didn't watch it. Sorry, buddy.
It's okay.
I wish I could go back and forth with you on it, but from what you're telling me, I'm glad I can't.
I'll give you this one thought, and then you can cringe like I cringed. Okay. Here's the thing about. So one of the main characters' names is Penny. Here's the problem. This is the problem. She's the hot girl with no last name. For a good 8 years of the show. I mean,
well, did everybody else have a last name?
Yep.
Okay.
You see the problem?
It's sort of been one of my aspirations to not have a last name. I wouldn't mind that.
Okay. Let's talk about the difference, though. I don't know what your last name is, and that's fine. You don't have to tell me. But here's the deal. If you are to call yourself Shani O on camera or on stage, that is still a first and a last name. Now, I don't know what the O stands for, or maybe it's just the O on its own. That's okay. But here's the thing. That denotes you're a human being. I call somebody.
You're not.
I'm joking about this.
Okay.
Right? You think I'm joking about this, but hear the rest of this out. Okay. Penny had no last name for 8 seasons. She was just Penny. Now, again, a name doesn't always come up every episode. That's fair. But if you have no last name, and eventually everybody else gets the last name, and it goes for 8 seasons, there's not even like a hint, an initial, or a this is storytelling 101. Is that character a person? Right?
Wait, okay, hold on. Let me ask a question.
Sure.
Is this working towards the idea that the writers of the show had a deeper plot in line where Penny wasn't actually a person? She was just a figment of the imagination of the protagonist, and everything else was a hallucination. Is this a thing?
It's not how it went. No, that would have been more interesting.
All right. Continue.
So, it's important when you name a character, it's consistent with the rest of the universe. So if they're in a universe with last names, all the characters need to have a last name. Now, it doesn't have to be used very much. In fact, you might even resent your name. Don't call me that, because I'll get angry and beat you, and I don't want to get beaten and I'm brittle, so I will never ask what your last name is, because I am I am brittle and I do not want to be beaten up, right? but the fact is, you have a last name. You are therefore a person, because in a world where everybody has a first and or last name, right?
All right.
Right. That denotes a degree of humanity. Now, if I call somebody Penny, it's like going to a strip joint. Coming out, it's Bubbles.
Wait, you got a problem with her last name because it sounds like a stripper last name?
No. I'm not saying it's her last name. No.
I'm sorry. Whatever, the first name.
Yeah, no. I don't have a problem that no. Her name sounds like a stripper, but no. Not that it sounds like a stripper. I bring that comparison up only for this reason, right? She's not a person; she's a fantasy. The moment you give her a last name, you give her context as a human being. And once you do that, okay. Human beings have thoughts, feelings, wants, desires, and have conflicts with life and things they're trying to achieve. All of this is interesting. But by keeping her Penny for as long as they did, right, you no longer had a person. You had a dream.
You're saying a last name would have humanized her.
Especially in a world where everybody else had one? Absolutely. Or if you're not going to give her a last name, if you're not going to do it, you have to give a reason for it. Because otherwise, again, it's like in storytelling 101. If something stands out from everything else, there has to be a reason for it. Right?
That's the same with art too. If you're going to call attention to something, make it something that has a purpose.
That's right. Because here's the thing. So I remember this. One of my former friends at this point, sadly, she wrote a novel. And my biggest criticism to her is her villain. Her villain was called the Potion Maker.
Was called the what?
The Potion Maker.
Ooh.
And everybody else had a first and last name.
The Potion Maker is not a bad name.
It
shows the purpose. They make potions.
That makes yes, but in a world where everybody else that has other occupations as well has at least a first name.
But having a villain, the antagonist, not have a last name instantly distinguishes them as the antagonist, which is the idea. They're not supposed to belong to the
It depends, right? But I mean, if you do that, you run the risk of going into mustache twirling territory.
Well, was it that kind of story? A mustache?
Not exactly. Like the villain was kind of straightforward, but even a straightforward look. Even in most of our cases today, straightforward "I'm a bad guy" people, right? They have at least some other parts of their personality. Like in my novel, right? My villain was in my novel. My villain was trying to buy his daughter a pony. That was his motivation for his evil deeds.
Aw, that's sweet.
Isn't it? It added a level of sophistication. Like his first introduction, "I'm so proud of you, sweetie. So what do you want?" Aww. And she's like, "A pony?" You hear his face like, "But Daddy will have to work more if you want a pony. They just eat, baby. Are you sure this is what you want?" Right?
Oh crap.
Yeah,
I don't know if I agree to a pony.
Yeah. So you know, and I use that, and I actually use that for later. But here's the point, right? No Batman, and this guy literally was a leg breaker, and he breaks and kills people for a living. I mean, he's not exactly a nice guy, but you know, he was trying to. You know, I added a little dimension to him. I gave him a purpose that any of us could understand. Try and make his kid happy. We all would try that, right? Pony might have been a bit much, but I mean, he wouldn't be the only parent that has, spoiled their kids rotten.
I've known people who had ponies. It was very weird. Mm-hmm. Just saying. Okay, continue.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine. But I'm just throwing it like that, right? Is that like again, I've added by introducing the villain like this. I added a dimension to him. He wasn't
Okay,
just.
what if you had that dimension with a pony and you still called them the potion maker? Would you need a last name?
I don't know if I would take it seriously.
But you've added the dimension.
Yeah, but again, it's because here's the thing about my character. His name was Adam. First name is Adam, and he was a nameless, faceless. But I actually have his full name. It's in the dossier when he gets arrested at the end of the book. And the thing about that though is, what the idea I had was that anybody could have been this guy. Just this was his job, right? So giving him a regular
last name was so important. Anybody could have been him.
But yes, but again, you want a little bit of that human relatability. So when you go to something like The Big Bang Theory, when everybody has a name, or even my friend's novel, where everybody around her, including other nasty bad people, have a name, and your main villain does not have a name.
Your voice is shaking a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's just like I'm just saying, this is the thing I noticed. Like, couldn't you have just given that you only have to say it once somewhere, right? You could have been a throwaway line, even it wouldn't have mattered. Just say it once somewhere, and suddenly they're more different.
You said that you're no longer friends. Is it because of this last name debacle?
Oh no, it's honestly one of the biggest screw ups in my freelance career. To be perfectly honest with you, we did not work well together, and it just unfortunately we tried to go past it, but I don't think we could, and some of that and a lot of that's me. She was one of my biggest mistakes, and going back to actually to the very beginning of the conversation, the only excuse I have is this, is that I really didn't know what I was charging, what she was doing for me, what it was really worth. I learned, unfortunately, the hard way.
Yeah, everybody's kind of got a story like that.
Oh yeah, I know. I feel really bad because again, as a friend, I still care about her. Like legit. Like I wish things had gone differently, but I also realized that again, I made some mistakes, and it's one of those situations where maybe someday we talk about it. I hope, but maybe we never do, and again, I have to live with it because it's her choice, right? But no, she actually took when I gave her that criticism. She was actually cool. She got it. Like she understood why I had that criticism. It made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? No, our friendship falling apart had more to do with us. We would have been farther apart just being friends, and sometimes you learn that shit the hard way. And
never really work with somebody that you can be friends with, like somebody who is your friend. Don't work with your friends.
I'm okay with working with friends as long as there's an understanding of what we're doing. Right, that's it. Like as long as we can have lunch. Like I can literally work with anybody. I really can. Friends or no friends, clients like clients. I know clients I don't, because you're going to establish a relationship with your clients at some point anyway. And if you can work with your friends, why not? It makes it easier. Everybody's familiar. The trick with that though is your friends. The thing you have to recognize with your friends is your friends are the people that are going to take you the most for granted. And you have to nip that in the bud as quickly as possible.
Quickly.
Right? And you have to recognize that it can happen. This is where contract comes in mind. If you and your friend, if you and your friend can honor our contract, you guys can work together. It doesn't. You can do it.
And make that contract super specific. More specific than you would anything else.
Yep. But if you have that, you can work with a friend. You can do it. It can be done. It's if you don't that
Hey, so we're at that 2-hour mark.
I know, and I'm going to show you some of the things I did.
Okay, let me stop sharing.
Yes, I shut her off because it's that time. So I did a couple things. Nothing major tonight because I'll show you some things I did throughout the week too. I did Long Ghibli Dragon, number 1.
Oh, hey, yeah, I see it. Absolutely.
This I actually am really proud of. I did this one pretty good. That's from Castle in the Sky. And
Robo-Man.
Yeah. So
hey.
That. So then, this is what I did tonight. I'll show you some of the other stuff I did throughout the week because I figure you probably want to catch up and kind of see how far I've come. This is the Ni no Kuni Dragon.
A little bit closer. Hey, cool. Is that a bush behind it?
No, that's the wings. The wings were kind of built like that.
Oh, I see it now. Okay. Mm-hmm. You are such a outline kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
A contour line guy. You should look into contour lines. It seems your style.
Yep. So, and then for the rest of the week, I'll show you here. Streaking Pirate!
Sick pose. Great point of view. I love that perspective.
Yes, did that. Yes. Let's see here. Demon pirate, kind of monkey-ish.
What is going on in the lower region? What is that?
Those are monkey hands. Monkey hands.
I see it now. I see. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So what the hell? My personal favorite thing I did this week. God is towing pirate ship in the water.
Turn it up. Put the top part towards me. Just tilt it towards me. Okay, I see it now. I see. There's a lot going on in that one.
Yeah.
Got a lot of planes happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're towing a ship. It's not gonna go easy.
No, that's true. One does not do that on a single plane.
Zombie pirate because the breasts still kick my ass.
I see. Yeah, no, those are some zombie boobs for sure.
Those are zombie boobs. Yeah, totally the zombie boobs. Yeah, that's been. Oh, and the last one. I like this one too.
I like the hat for one because it's coming in clear. The face looks good from what I can tell. You're getting really good at this, my friend. I like the nose style and the lip style. I remember when I was in those days where it was just a shape. Look at those knee pads. That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's a magic card I tried drawing. The only bad part is it was originally a blonde heartthrob, but I'm happy with what actually kind of came out of it anyway. Because even though color would be nice because I could do some different things, but even so, I still think I'm pretty proud of overall a lot of the detail I was able to do on that bad boy.
You were doing so well.
Yeah. I'm almost good. Don't tell anybody. But no, I'm happy with the Ni no Kuni Dragon.
Yeah. You have these block shapes that have so much opportunity for textured color. You know, you can scan that in and just go in with a textured wash, and so much of that would just.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I gotta get at least 1 or 2 more jobs so I can actually start like getting some more of these sophisticated programs. I know the program I'm gonna get for this is called Affinity.
Okay. All right.
Affinity is a pretty sweet program. My buddy did the Cloud Diver cover on Affinity. If you ever want to see what his results were, just go look on my Amazon page. You'll see it. You'll be like, holy shit.
Affinity Cloud Diver, you said?
Oh, here. I'll show you. So the program he uses is called Affinity. And let me show you the cover he did. Give me a second here. Because I apparently have books out and stuff like that. Who knew?
Wow. I know an author. Can I get your autograph?
And I will happily deface anything you like. I don't know. So, here. For everybody else that wants to see it, here we go. All you gotta do is, and for you might not be able to click that.
I have clicked it. Damn, look at that palette. That's so bubblegum.
I know.
Cyberpunk, bubblegum, statuesque, all those libraries. That is lovely.
He's good. He's really, really good.
It's very painterly, but at the same time, not. Oh man, look at those highlights on the arm. Because the highlights are what pushes it forward. Without the highlights, it would just blend into the shadows, the chest. And
he's good. Like, he's really good. Like, he forgets how good he is.
He should. He's an expert. He is focused on getting better.
Yes. So, and then I'll show you. Actually, I will show you something really cool when we get off the air. Actually, hold on. Whoever is watching this, could you please say hi? If you do say hi, I might show you guys something really cool. Maybe. I don't know how to do it. I'll try.
Lance Bowen.
Yeah.
Oh, here he is. All right, well, I'm checking out the rest of his stuff, dude.
He's good. He's totally good. His biggest critic is. You should look. So he's one of like 3 people you should look up, like him, Kenzie, who does my Alice stuff, Florence, who does my Watcher stuff, and the next person I'm working with is doing my Corey stuff, which is going to be really, really sweet.
Oh, that is a different link. Okay, I shall check out this guy.
That's right, and you're going to say, Josh knew me, and Josh pointed me out to you because he says you're awesome, and he's really good dude.
Chat.
Yeah, that's right. So, before we completely wrap up, so you're going to keep going down, looks like the YA children's path. So when's your book going to be done?
Picture books. I aim to finish, and I'm about to finish a book dummy tomorrow, and I'm going to start finishing the illustrated spreads and a cover and a spot illustration, all these things. I'm going to tackle that next month and start reaching out to some art directors and art agents at the same time. And I want to take one of those illustrations or a different illustration that I have, turn it into postcards and send that out in 6 to 12 different batches to about 50 different art directors. That's what these instructors are telling us to do. So I am going to do that. That's my next task this month, next month, and the month after that.
You should also be doing it in some magazine places where your style would be beneficial.
You think so?
Why not?
Because editorial is a different breed.
So what?
So when you're looking for a client as an illustrator, you want the client to know that you do this one thing specifically. And if your portfolio is varied, then they're going to go to the next person who has a specified portfolio and they know for sure that they can do this one thing.
I have a solution.
Different portfolios?
No. Although you could do that too. You could also look at the magazines that focuses on targeting your market, because chances are your covers that actually fit your market will actually take your stuff too. I could be old-fashioned because there's nothing like real practical experience in for example, there's a magazine that targets Christian children. May not be your thing, but here's the thing. It's young adult. It deals with kids, right? It's number 1. Number 2, right? There's magazines like that. There's also, now if you want to go something a little bit more, there's Nickelodeon. Hey, you know what? If you got your name in there, you're probably going to be good anywhere else you go. I'm just saying. I hear you. Yeah, right. I think Disney has a magazine.
I think they have all these illustrators that work with them already that some schmuck from the outside. I hear what you're saying. These are all great opportunities.
But not only that. Okay, so see, we said something at the very beginning, and I'm going to shove.
He's pushing back.
Shove this one down your throat a little bit. See, one, these places are always looking for new voices to tell stories. Period. Because everybody's this is the reality of the publishing business. Everybody's got a shelf life in the bigger companies. We just do. We're going to come in. We're going to be there for a set time. And then when the time is up, we're going to be sent away. It's the nature of the beast. We all have a set window. Your job is to make yourself, is when you get into these platforms, to create a better platform for you, because you are Shani and you are awesome. And this is where I'm going to be really hard now, because you are Shani and you are awesome. And here's the thing. I literally just wrote something about the power of asking to a writing thing. And here's the wonderful thing. I've had the chance to interview science fiction Hall of Fame legends. I've had the chance to interview comic book creator. My 599th episode was interviewing the current writer of Harley Quinn for DC Comics. Do you know how I got? Do you know how I got her to come on my show?
You asked her.
Exactly. So here's the thing. And when I go do pitches, I'm asking. When I am going to do something for these places, I'm asking. The worst they can tell you, Shani, is no. And if they tell you no, well, guess what? That's one less place you have to worry about looking, right?
Well, I'm not worried about being told no. I'm not worried about any of that. I'm trying to focus my efforts to the place that will take me first.
But you see, I feel you should challenge yourself. See, I'm not gonna. No. See, I think you could get into something bigger, and I think you could do it now. The question is, are you willing to say? Here's the deal. You should work on your battle plan, but here's what you also should be doing. Where do I want to be? I want to be at, let's say, Warner Brothers. Hypothetically, just Warner Brothers. I want to be on their animation wing. I want to be drawing Looney Tunes. I'm not saying that's your goal, but let's just for the sake of argument, we'll just say that yeah. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, as you say, specify my portfolio to fit that mold, because that's what I want to do. But the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go contact Warner Brothers, because fuck it, they might take me now, and they might. You never know. And here's how I got my first agent meeting with an agent. This is what I did. I went to the agent, that very agent, and go, hey, listen, I'm not trying to pitch you something. Wink, 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 wink. Right? But I go, could you help me? Help you? Yeah. So what would it take for me to do this pitch to get in front of an agent? Who better to learn that than from an actual agent? So I talked. She helped me with my pitch. Got better. I got a meeting. I didn't get in. Doesn't matter. I got that meeting. Simply put, because I asked. You do not have. See, we were talking about this earlier about creators thinking they're inadequate and stuff like that. You said a schmuck like you actually said this, and this is actually on there. A schmuck like you, no, you can't think like that. You are Shani O. You are the art bard. Hell, you're the motherfucking art bard. You're ready to kick some ass and do it now. And you guys look in the mirror and actually say, I believe in myself enough to go to these places and simply say, why not me? And even if you get a no, you can always go to them and ask them, what do you need to work on? Some of them, at least one of them, is going to look at you and go, this is what you need to do. And they will tell you, and they will help you. And right then and there, you will have established a relationship with a major publisher in a publishing house. You keep in contact, you show them your work, and down the road, they will give you an opportunity. But you start that relationship now by swinging for those fences now. Because why not?
I appreciate the pep talk.
Yeah.
This is what I am doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's going a little slow.
Sure.
I want to put my best foot forward. But yes.
Good.
But yes.
Yes. That's it. And you'll get there. And then one day I will say to you, like I said to somebody else, did you know that I interviewed somebody that actually worked on Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Dude, yes. What was their name?
Elsa Garagarza.
Elsa Garagarza.
One of my favorite people. Very cool. I loved hanging with her. She drew on my show with me. It was awesome. So here's this, and she actually literally draws Batman for a living right now. So I want you to sit there and think about this, okay?
Okay.
I'm a dude with a podcast on Twitch, and I'm able to get all these cool people to come on my show all the time. And the only thing I'm really doing, am I cool enough to have you come on my show? And which they all say, ha ha, sure. Or no. Right? And again, if you haven't seen my track listing on my YouTube or even my current run, you really should. Right? I get some incredible people, and I say this with and I'm truly honored that everybody wants to come on my show. I'm humble enough to be like, I'm appreciative. But I'm not exaggerating when I've said this. I've had bestsellers, I've had people just getting started, people just in the middle. You all have more in common than you think. And you need to what you need to do. Don't ever set your sights small. I know you got big dreams, but you're more ready for them now than you think you are. And you need to and don't beat around the bush. Just go for it. And even if it doesn't work out, I promise you those doors will open even in your failures.
I'll take the pep talk any day.
Yes.
Thank you.
She's like, I like you.
Stop. Chuck, stop.
Yeah. Like, I like you. You make me feel good. But that's it. That's the last thing I'm going to say. I'm going to preach you.
Positive note.
What?
On a positive note, an inspirational, uplifting note.
And this is also to everybody else out there. Like, straight up. I'm not the most talented guy in the world. I'm not the smartest. I'm not any of those things. The one thing I do have going for me is I believe in myself. And I say, you know what? Why not? And I just go for it. And I put myself out there constantly. Me being as authentically me as possible. And we've talked about this all night with social media and things like that for the first bit of this conversation. If you are watching or listening to this, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's through my podcast, go back to around the 50-minute mark when we were talking about this and getting very specifically. We were talking about authenticity in social media. I am literally living proof about authenticity getting you to open doors. I'm just me. And I don't worry about anything else. I just believe I matter. That's it. I have my doubts just like everybody else. But at the end of the day, I press on, and good things do happen. And so I breathe this out to you. You're all special. You all can accomplish anything you set your mind to. Anything. The true trick is looking in the mirror and saying, I believe the little engine that could. I think I can. It sounds so freaking corny. It really, really does. Yes. That's the truth. I think I can go so much farther than I think I can't. I think I can't doom you. I think it can opens the possibility that you will. So try to think like that every day and shoot for those things that you really, really want, because life is fragilely short, but it's very long on possibility. And on that note, where can people find you?
I can be found on theartbard.com or on LinkedIn, Shani O, the Art Bard, or you can email me at theartbard@gmail.com. So long as you remember the Art Bard, you can find me. I'm Shani O.
That's right. And she's been coming back. I'm sure we'll figure out a way for her to come back next month or early September, one way or the other. But until then, boys and girls, if you like what you heard, my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/JustJoshUpodcast, hit the like and subscribe there. YouTube channel is Joshua Pentalrasco. Hit the like and subscribe there. Alice Zero is up for the Elgin Award. Alice 1 comes out this November. Alice Zero is available on Amazon. You can click the link to the Cloud Diary, my other book, and it'll take you there as well. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. I will be back next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. And see you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do, or don't get caught. All right, guys. Take care of yourselves.